Are we finally ready to talk about it? Let's talk about it. You've been on Etsy for some time. Your sales have started to plummet and you're feeling nervous and just a wreck because you don't understand what happened. Everything just changed over a few days or over a few weeks and you don't understand why. Today, I'm going to talk about 4 key things that will help you to improve your shop so that you can get back to where you were or have to explore another option, which I call pivoting. So first, let's talk about your shop and what Etsy is really for. In my opinion, Etsy is a launch pad. Etsy is where you test your products. Etsy is where you get your feet wet in the world of business, learning how to do customer service, learning how to market beautiful products, learning how to see what works, and getting reviews. Etsy is a launch pad, and I'll always say that. It's a great first start for someone who's just trying to get online for the first time and learn how to make money, because you get to cut out a lot of things that will distract you, like figuring out how to do ads or figuring out who to market to. All of this kind of gets solved when you go into the Etsy marketplace and test by putting your products in there. So consider that while I talk about these other things. 1, if you feel that your items are just constantly not being looked at, or they are and no one's buying, it's usually something wrong with your images. You have to update your listings, your thumbnails to make sure that they look attractive. You have to go into the Etsy search and search in your own keywords for your products and see what your competitors are listing items at and see how they appeal to you. It should really intrinsically just attract your eye. It's not too hard always to notice what attracts your eye, and it makes you think, okay, I need to tweak mine to be improved in a way, but that still represents my brand colors, my themes, and my style. So consider your thumbnails, your listing images. Are they clear? Do they represent something professional? Would you buy it if you saw it and at the price that you're marketing it at? Would you? Ask that question genuinely. Sit back and ask. And if you really wouldn't pay $15 for your product or $20 for your product, then you know some work needs to be done. This is the hard part. People don't want to do that hard work. People don't want to fix things. You have to do the hard work in order to excel. And that is one way to do it. Fix it. It's okay. Now, the second part is fix your product. If you're not getting positive reviews, you're getting some negative reviews or feedback, or maybe the links aren't working on your digital product that you're selling. If that's the case, then go in and fix it. You cannot be lazy in business, especially if you want income to come in regularly. You can't. You have to be willing to make the change and to fix what's not working until it's better. So if your design is not appealing to people or shoppers, it's kind of just dead in the water, it's not moving, it's not making any sales, then it's just not a desirable product. And it's probably something that a person would like, but not in the sea of the competition on Etsy, or not in the sea of the products that you have that are similar in your shop if you're selling multiples of that same type of item, but in variations. So it could just be that it just doesn't stand out enough. So you can try to change it over a little bit, maybe consider a different type of theme for your digital item, or maybe consider different colors. Consider your audience and what they would actually like. That is another way to fix your items. Update the product itself. Okay, number 3. You want to clean up your shop. If you've been on Etsy for a little while, it's likely that you have a lot of items. I'm pretty sure you have a lot of items that aren't ever selling. They probably sell once every few months or once a year. That's not enough. You need items that are actually selling. And I would even say you don't need your items to be bestsellers. They just need to regularly sell, maybe once a month or twice a month, that they regularly sell. And that's a really good way to kind of keep you in the shadows, I say, so that all the people looking for bestsellers don't come and steal your stuff. A reality that we have to consider. So I kind of like the idea of not trying to necessarily have bestsellers. Keep your prices a little higher if you feel like it's getting to that point, but just keep them regularly selling. You have someone who will is willing to pay a little bit extra because they do like your item, but not that you're just giving your stuff away. Now, some people will disagree and say, hey, bestsellers are what you absolutely need. To a certain extent, I do think that signals Etsy to draw more traffic to your shop. So yes, that is a benefit, but there's always a catch to that. You're going to also draw in copycatters. You're going to draw in everyone who wants to do exactly what you're doing. And before you know it, you have a ton of people with your exact same product, and then you're fighting with pricing wars. So think about that. Think about just cleaning up the items that don't really sell, and let the items that do, let them do their work. Up your price a little bit so you don't have to fight with a bestseller badge that everybody will just scope out and then copy. Okay, my final tip. This is for the person who has done successfully in their Etsy business, and then all of a sudden sales are just consistently dropping no matter what you do. You've taken out all of the items that don't really sell too well. You've got your best ones there. You've improved your products so that they look incredible. You even updated your listing images over time so they look professional, and yet and still your sales are still dropping. What does that mean? That means your specific category has become saturated in the market. And when there's so much saturation, and then there's cheaper versions and options, and then those cheaper versions are selling like hotcakes because Etsy loves those bestseller badges, then how can you possibly grow any further? You've reached a peak. And so most of us are always looking at our life experiences where we just have to keep going up and up and up and climbing. But if you really think about how life works, you have ebbs and flows. And the same applies to the Etsy marketplace. So if you're at this point, it's time to pivot. I know. Your Etsy shop is your baby. Your products are your baby. Okay, you're still getting small sales here and there, so you don't want to give it up. This resistance is stopping your growth. The reason you must pivot is so that you can expand and reach a greater audience with your product. You can't do that any longer if Etsy is no longer showcasing your items. If Etsy is now favoriting these people with bestsellers and cheaper products, and your field has become saturated. It's just the reality. So sit with that and think about it and just accept it. Give it a few days, take some time to really let that process, because I know it's hard. But on the other side of your pivot is where you can really expand and grow. How to do that? It takes a few extra skills. But for the person who has not started an online shop, who's new to the world of making money in the world of online business, I have something special for you. I have a mastermind program, and you can come on in and learn how to design beautifully in a specific niche that is not saturated so that you have opportunity to really make income regularly, just as I did. I was able to reach the peak of being a top 1.2% Etsy seller amongst millions of sellers around the world. And then I made over $160,000 with selling templates passively. That for me has been life-changing, and not only the income, but learning how to do business online. So if you are ready to launch your first business online and you want to start with Etsy with my guidance to coach you, then come on over to my mastermind and learn more. All right, thanks for listening. And until next time, this is Drea Smith. Take care.